Last thing I want to talk about before we wrap up the show, though. Indiana basketball still on the bubble. This is hilarious, folks. Indiana looked dead in the water last week. 14-10, haven't won a game in over a month. They're playing like garbage. And then they go on the road. They go on the road and they beat Michigan State. And you're like, oh, man, Indiana's back. They went on the road, knocked off a top 15 team. Indiana has a shot. And everybody was saying, I even asked a few bracketologists on Twitter their thoughts. And they said if Indiana beats UCLA, they're in the NCAA tournament field. Some people were already projecting Indiana in the tournament field after beating Michigan State. Guess what, though? And this is why Mike Woodson is not going to be the head coach for Indiana next season. Indiana let another game slip away. Like they let the Maryland game slip away, the Michigan game slip away, the at Purdue game slip away, and this UCLA game. Indiana was gifted. I mean, absolutely gifted. Multiple chances to beat UCLA. And they couldn't do it. I mean, they had no shot. They were down like 70-63 with like a minute and 20 seconds left. And there's a flagrant foul that Anthony Leal draws. He and then Indiana like has him go to the monitor to look. They call flagrant. UCLA misses the front end because it was a foul on Leal. But then the guy retaliated. Indiana cuts it to 5. And then Indiana's hitting free throws, and they cut it to 2. And they have like 4 looks at it at the end. And Baco misses a layup. They miss Rice for a wide-open layup down low. Don't even pass it to him. And Baco misses the 3. Which now you're seeing reports that Mbako's still hurting from the game. If that's the case, Woodson should have got Goody in the corner instead of Mbako. But, again, digress. But Indiana blew that game. Had chances in the end. But they blew that game, despite playing very well. But as you can see right now on the bracket matrix, Indiana is essentially anywhere from the 3rd to the 5th team out of the NCAA tournament. They still have a chance at 15-11 and 6-9 in the league. If they win against Purdue on Sunday, Indiana, according to most bracketologists, will be back in the tournament field. This is a joke. This shows you absolutely how weak the tournament bubble is. It is a very, very weak year for the bubble. And this is why I wrote on Twitter earlier today, and this is a whole other topic that I could talk about on a future show. And I've talked about it on my channel, Only Talk Sports, before. We do not need tournament expansion. People are trying to – what are we doing for college football? We're expanding it. We're adding more teams. A 12-team playoff. Now they want a 16-team playoff. They want all this expansion, right? Oh, more teams, more money, more fun, whatever. I don't agree with it. It adds more terrible basketball. I mean, I know that the bubble's not always this bad, but the bubble is bad this year in college basketball. Indiana and North Carolina shouldn't even be sniffing the bubble. But they are, because the bubble's not very good. And they're wanting to expand the NCAA tournament to 76 teams. No, absolutely not. And that's why I got the GIF. I don't agree with it. I do not want expansion. I know people are like, well, if they had a 76-team tournament, then Indiana and North Carolina would be in. Indiana and North Carolina don't deserve to be in. I mean, Indiana, yeah, I want them to make the tournament. I do. I want North Carolina to make the tournament, but only if they deserve it. Only if they actually win their games down the stretch of the season and get in. We do not need expansion. The tournament, I don't want to say it's perfect as is, because I even think maybe the first four is kind of overdoing it a bit. But I would leave the tournament as is. Keep the auto bids. This isn't football where, teams get blown out all the time. These little schools have a shot. Basketball is a different sport. Keep the auto bids, keep the Cinderellas, and then just keep it at 68. Do not add any more teams. I do not want that to happen. But knowing the NCAA and people in general, they're always thinking more is better when that's not always the case. We're probably going to have an expanded tournament one day, but I hope it does not happen. But regardless, for Indiana Hoosier fans that do want Indiana to win, because there are some people that are so mad at Woody that they just want Indiana to keep losing until he's gone. He's gone, folks. He's not coming back. I'm still rooting for Indiana to make the tournament. If they beat Purdue at home, yet another opportunity, then they'll have a shot. I've heard from most people they need to go at least 3-2 down the stretch to have a chance to get in, more likely 4-1. Beat Purdue at home, beat Penn State at home, beat Ohio State at home, get the Washington game on the road. They're in the field. But can Woody do that? I wouldn't count on it. but they definitely still have a chance because they got that game over Michigan State.